this? Yes, that's second. And then we should then you should have these two. I'm not sure. I'm just going. Yeah, 'cause I'm looking through here. So here we go. And I'm missing my eye. No, I don't. I'm pretty sure on this one we tacited yesterday, right? I don't think we played anything, so I'm not. We have this little stuff.
I don't think pretty much is the same as this.
Then we have, this is a little different. Oh yeah, this is the one I should have. I can't read. It's so. Well, it's just so low, and I'm transposing it up a step. But it's just a little bit. You know what? Hey, yeah. This is the right one. September 16th. Yeah. Okay. Just in case there's updates. I think I'm okay. I have a quick question. On this, we have this, but the MI Tai Kia Ta, this one, okay. I'll just know that it goes right there. I'll mark, okay, right before this. Rosh Hashanah times 2, play again. Okay. So this is the one I do the intro on the clarinet. Okay. And then I got the clarinet on this now. Oh, when you get a chance, take your time. I just have a quick. Yeah, on this, so we recorded this, and I had forgotten. So I'll play the top on this, and it's just pretty slow.
Yeah, I do remember this one.
Yeah, and
And then this is the one where we do the stairway to heaven.
yeah.
With the intro, but I'm not sure.
But then it goes into
second
boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it little fills. Is this? This is my key though, I think, or is this constant? Can you just check your chart? Ose Shalom.
Yep, so that's your turn.
Okay. On my Ritze, I have a clarinet part for whatever reason. I must have. When we play the Ritze, when we want it to be soft, I'll be playing it in a lower register. You know, I thought about it. I could have just played it. It's really soft on flute. I just,
Yeah.
but on that Ritze, do you want to just play the first little spot? We'll just play it super soft and see how it feels. Me playing it on a clarinet. So like, I don't know. We have to do a setting thing, but I'm not. I would just. I know what you're talking about. You want it free. Well, you also put a. Is there a stop?
Wanted my stand up a little bit.
We're 1 minute away from starting. Want to just
Let me take my
Jason,
Oh well, the prelude started at 11.
your food just came.
Our mic's
Yeah.
live.
Oh, oops.
Nobody's listening. Where's Angel?
So we're starting with Mato Vu.
שפטותיך ישראל, ישראל. ואני אבוזך, עבודתך, אשתחווה, אשתחווה, אל חורך קודשך, ביראתך.
Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom. This is a new year. As we know in improv, it is never a no, but always a yes and. May this new year be our yes ands. May we say yes to things we might never have believed we would do so, and see how it works out. Let us say yes and do away with the no, I don't want to. Let's see, as we experience life, that it is one of openness, that it is about growth. And so we continue our service with the beginning sound of a shofar. The Reform movement added an additional sounding to begin the morning of Rosh Hashanah. So Dave Haberman is here, and we are thrilled to welcome him here as we turn to page 137 in your Machzor. Hear, O Israel, the divine abounds everywhere and dwells in everything. Its faces are infinite. Its source suffuses all. The many are one. Please rise as we hear the sound of the shofar. Please join me at the bottom of the page. Blessed is the soul-reaching sound of the shofar. It proclaims the purpose of this day. Blessed is community, source of joy, solace, and strength to ever-living soul. We continue with the Baruch Hu on page 142. Together, Source of blessings, our eternal God, your power fills the cosmos, shaping light, creating darkness, making peace and fashioning all things. Infinite light is preserved in life's treasure house. Lights from the darkness, said God, it was so. In love, you bring light to the earth and its creatures. Your goodness renews the creation each day. Infinite, varied, and rich are your works, divine artists, all of them wrought with wisdom. The whole earth is teeming with life, awestruck by the universe, the work of your hands. Let all life bless you and praise you and celebrate the beauty of your lights. Or Chadash al Tzion Ta'ir v'nizkei chulanu mehera la'oro. May you shine a new light on Zion, and may we soon be privileged to share in that light. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMe'orot. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the cosmic light. Love abundant, love unstinting. Our God, you have enfolded us in love, tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. Together, we have trusted in your great and holy name. Now let us celebrate at last the joy of your salvation. Bring us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to the land that is ours. For you are our God of miracles and wonders. From all the peoples of the earth you sought us out and brought us nearer to your great enduring truth. So with love we acknowledge and proclaim that you are one. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. You have singled out, praise to you, Adonai, you have singled out your people, Israel, with love. Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Together, you shall love Adonai your God with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before our eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. Thus you will become holy to your God. I, Adonai, am your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I, Adonai, am your God. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Adonai, your God, is true. We continue at the bottom of page 163. Remember the stories of slavery, and you will never stop working for freedom. Remember their fear at the edge of the sea, and self-doubt will never defeat you. Remember when desperation turned to celebration, and you will never let go of hope. Remember the words of the Baal Shem Tov, forgetfulness leads to exile. Remembrance is the secret of redemption. We turn the page and continue with Mi Chamocha. Please rise for the tefillah on page 166.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia ki tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונע הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו, למען שמו באהבה.
זוכרנו אלוהים, מלך החפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים.
אל חוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך שמו,
מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה.
אמן.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע.
מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחייב הכל ברחמים רבים, צומק נופלים גבי חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומעיין אמונתו לשלי עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אל הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו למים מרחמים.
ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
Please be seated. We continue our service with the Unatana Tokef on page 174. And so let these words of sanctity ascend to you, for you are our God and sovereign.
תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא ואיום. ותינשא מלכותך, ויגון וחסד, כי
are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal, you record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other. And so a great shofar will cry, Tekiah. A still, small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you like sheep before their shepherd, as a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff. You count and consider every life. You set bounds. You decide destiny. You inscribe judgments. Rosh Hashanah, this is written on the feast and fast of Yom Kippur. This is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age and who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted?
Rosh Hashanah, Yikateivun, Uveyom Tzom Kippur, Uveyom Tzom Kippur, Yechadeimun, Berosh Hashanah, Yikateivun, Uveyom Tzom Kippur, Uveyom Tzom Kippur, Yechadeimun.
But don't worry, there are a few things we can do, and they are, but through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree.
ותשובה ותפילה וצדקה מעבירין את רוח הגזירה.
You are everything that we praise you for, slow to anger, quick to forgive. You do not wish the death of sinners, but urge them to return from their ways and live. Until the day of death, you wait for them. You accept them at once if they return. Since you created us, you know our impulses. We are but flesh and blood. Please rise as we continue with the Kedusha on page 184.
Nekadesh, Nekadesh. נקדש את שמך בעולם, נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. ככתוב על יד נביאיך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, ברוב כל הארץ אדיר, אדירנו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוני, אדוננו, מה אדיר, מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו, והוא ישמיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו, ברחמיו. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, בכל ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה.
We continue with the shofar service on page 206. As we remain standing, I call Jonathan Singer up to sound the shofar. As we know, this is a moment that we wait for, correct? We want to hear the shofar. It is within our tradition that it is not the person who sounds the shofar who is actually fulfilling the mitzvah, the commandment, because that would mean there are very few people who have to be here. It's actually all of us who hear the sound of the shofar. And we know that the rabbis had a lot of questions. So the question was, how? How does one actually fulfill the commandment if someone just happens to pass by the synagogue but isn't prepared to come in and hears the shofar? Are they fulfilling the commandment? And what do you all think? Absolutely. Intention in Judaism is not as important as our action. We do something good even when we don't feel like it. That's what Judaism teaches us, even when we have strong feelings. And we're told that we need to listen in different ways. So for the deaf community, they've taught us how to hear things differently through sign language and through vibration. We also hear extra for those who are not able to be here because of an illness or perhaps incarceration or other experiences that do not allow them to arrive here to hear the shofar sound. So we are going to hear blessings, and then we are going to be here to hear the shofar in many different ways.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishma kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehayanu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, summoning us to hear the sound of the shofar. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, giving us life, upholding the life within us, and bringing us to this time.
Tekiya Shevarim Truah Tekiya Tekiya Shevarim Tekiya Tekiya Teruah Tekiya.
Please be seated.
Tzifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Areshet tzifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Bevinu mazimamim u'makshim lekol netiyatenu u'tkabel berachamim berachamim uvratzon
Turn to page 208. God, who is ours and God of our fathers and mothers, may our rest on this Shabbat bring your pleasure. Lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find a portion of the Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness. Teach us to be satisfied and to know the joy of your salvation. Let your holy Shabbat be our heritage, embraced freely and with love. And may all our people bring holiness to your name by resting on this day. Help us to serve you truly with purity of heart, for you are our faithful God, whose truth stands forever. Baruch atah Adonai melech al kol haaretz mekadesh hashabbat v'Yisrael v'yom hazikaron. Our praise to you, eternal one, whose power pervades all the earth. You bring holiness to Shabbat, to the people Israel, and to the day of remembrance.
Te
page 214. Our God, divine presence, whose path our ancestors walked, bless us now with words first bestowed on Israel in the time of Moses and Aaron, that threefold blessing given us through Torah that joins our hopes with theirs.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May you know God's blessings of shelter and care.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May you receive the light of God's kindness and grace.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום.
May you see God's favor and goodness, and may you partake of God's peace.
Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tov avracha, chei v'chesed rachamim, aleinu. Barachenu Avinu Kolanu Kechan Be'or Panecha Ki Be'or Panecha Natat Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Torat Chaim Ve'avat Chesed U'tzedaka U'bracha Ve'rachamim Ve'chaim Ve'shalom Sim shalom Sim shalom Tov avracha Ve'tov be'necha Levarech amacha Yisrael Bechol het ובכל השם בשלומך. שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. אמן, אמן, אמן.
We take a moment of silent reflection and prayer. with Avinu Malkeinu. Please rise as we open the ark.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Hamol aleinu, Ve'yalol aleinu, Ve'tapeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu,
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotveinu beSefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu maasim. Asei imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Asei imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, le'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu
We continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the Torah service for this Rosh Hashanah and Shabbat on page 226. When first we appeared on the stage of world history, a book was in our hands. This book, this sacred scroll, and we were told, this is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart. And we were told, you can surely do it. And then we learned, this is where heaven and earth touch.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'en yemasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha
אשר חסד לאלפים, נושא אבוד ופשע, וחטאה ונקה. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh v'nora Shemo, Gadlul Adonai iti, uneromema Shemo Yachdav.
Adonai hagedol, hagedol, hateferet, hanetzach v'havod, ki yechol bashamayim u'haaretz, ki yechol bashamayim u'haaretz. Lecha Adonai hamalachot, ve'einasecha
So those who were with us this morning will hear my same speech again later, because you are in for an amazing and beautiful gift. Sam Graber reads this annually, and if you have been in this synagogue before, you will know that he gives new meaning to the Akedah, to the binding of Isaac. It is our annual Torah reading on Rosh Hashanah, and it is the beautiful voice and the kavanah that he gives that inspires all of us. So I am thrilled to hear it again and again and again. I think this is his third reading. Did you do it downstairs? Do you? So we've got to give him energy, okay? We've got to be ready and up and awake and ready for him as he is always ready. So it is beautiful. We'll get there. Perfect. Okay,
Baruch et Adonai Hamborach. Baruch atah Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayehi hakar hadvarihim ahele v'hahalohim nisat Avraham vayomer alav Avraham vayomer hinini vayomer kakna et binchat yetitcha asher ahavta et Yitzchak v'lek lecha heretz Moriah v'alehu sham leolam al chare arim asher umar lecha vayeshkem Avraham baboker v'yakavosh et hamaro v'yikach et shnei narav yitzohu v'heit Yitzchak beno v'bekayat seolam v'yakam v'yelek el hamakom asher amar lo ha'elohim Bayom hashlishi, Vayisav Avraham et einav, v'yaret hamakom merakob. Vayomer Avraham el narav, shvu lechem po im hamor v'ani v'na'ar nechad ko, v'nishtakavev v'nashuv alechem. Vayikach Avraham et atzei ha'olam, vayasem Yitzchak beno, vayikach biado et ha'esh v'et kamachelet, vayolchu shnechem yakdah. Vayomer Yitzchak el Avraham avi, vayomer avi, vayomer hineni beni, vayomer Hinei ha'esh v'cha'itzim v'ayaseh le'olam. Vayomer Avraham, Elohim, Yireh lo aseh le'olam v'eni, vayolchu shnechem yakdav. Vayavo el hamakom asher amar lo Elohim vayiven sham Avraham et hamizbeach v'yarok et ha'etzim v'yakod et Yitzchak beno vayasem oto al hamizbeach mimahal ha'etzim. Vayishlach Avraham et yado vayikach et kamachelet lishkot et beno. Vayikra elav malach Adonai min hashemayim vayomer Avraham vayomer hinini vayomer al tishlach yadcha el hanar Ve'alta slo meuma ki ataya dati ki yarei Elohim ata v'lo asachta tabinach chikit chamimeni. Vayisav Avraham et einav v'yar v'kine ayil hakar nechaz bazbak v'karnav vayelek Avraham vayikak et ayil v'yalehu leolam takat beno vayikra Avraham Shema makomahu Adonai Yireh Asher yomech hayom Bechar Adonai Yireh Vayikra Malach Adonai El Avraham Shenid min hashemayim Vayomer ki nishpatin yum Adonai Hi Ya'an asher asita et hadavar hazeh v'lo asakta tabinach chikitecha ki ba'avreka v'rekecha ve'arbar behi et saracha kekokvehi hashemayim v'kakol asher al safat hayam Vayirah saraka hit sha'ardoi V'it baraku v'zaraka ko koi haaretz kev asher shamata b'koli Vayasav Abraham el narav Vayokumu yakta el be'er Shabbat Vayishev Avraham v'be'er Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chei olam natan b'tokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And now, while the Torah scroll is out, we continue with a Misha Berach, a blessing of healing for those who are in need of physical or spiritual or emotional healing. This is the moment for us to think about those in our lives and to say their names in our hearts.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And now we have completed the reading of the Torah, and we will lift it as we ask you to please rise.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל. על פי אדוני ביד
And now we continue with the Haftorah, and it is and can be found in the middle of page 252 as the cantor blesses it and as Judy Karen comes forward to read it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'neviim tovim ורצה בדבריהם הנאמרים באמת. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בתורה ובמשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ובנביאי האמת והצדק.
And Hannah prayed, saying, "Through the eternal my heart knows joy. Through the eternal my horn is raised. My mouth opens wide against my foes, for I exult in your deliverance. There is nothing holy like the eternal, for there is nothing beside you. And there is no rock like our God. Speak no more in lofty tones. Let arrogance leave your mouths. All-knowing is the eternal God, whose deeds cannot be measured. The bows of the mighty are broken, and while those who falter find strength, those who were full sell themselves for bread, and the hungry hunger no more. The ones who were barren bear 7, and the mother of many is bereaved. The eternal is the maker of death and life, takes down to Sheol and brings back up. The eternal makes poverty and wealth, casts low and raises aloft, lifts the poor from the dust, causes the needy to rise from the dung heaps and dwell among princes, then places them on the thrones of honor. For the pillars of the earth belong to the eternal, who founded the world upon them, who watches over the steps of the faithful while turning evildoers silent into darkness. For not by power shall a human being prevail. The eternal shatters foes, thunders against them in the heavens. The eternal judges the earth from end to end, so may God give strength to the sovereign and raise high the horn of God's anointed.
Page 259. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam צור כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה ועל יום הזיכרון הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ודברך אמת וקיים לעד ברוך אתה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ מקדש השבת בישראל ויום הזיכרון.
And now we continue on page 268 as we rise again. This is a moment here at Temple where we will have the calls of the shofar, but we will not hear the shofar, for today is Shabbat. And the tradition is that you are not supposed to sound the shofar on Shabbat. Not because sounding the shofar is a problem for Shabbat, but it is called a fence around the Torah that one might carry the shofar to this synagogue, and therefore that is something you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to carry things to the synagogue. Reform movement, we have never adhered to that. When it's Shabbat, we sound the shofar. But so that's why you might be looking at me puzzled, like, we've never done that. You're right, we've never done that. But today we are going to, because this year is the year of Shabbat here at Temple. And so to honor that, it's every year Shabbat, but we're going to do more on Shabbat. We invite you to come to one extra Shabbat here in our sanctuary. What do you think? I like it. One, just one. You can do two if you want, or three. But I know that we're always here. So we will greet and welcome you with an additional Shabbat observance. Maybe light candles. Maybe buy a challah every week. Maybe go through your highlights and lowlights of the week together with your family. So we are this year, because we are celebrating and making Shabbat our theme, elevating it, we would like to sound or call the sounds of the shofar for this second set and not hear a sound.
Tekiah, Shevarim Tu'ah, Tekiah, Tekiah, Shevarim, Tekiah, Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah.
And now we return the Torah to the ark. Don't worry, Tekiah Gedolah is coming quickly. We would not keep that away from you. We continue on page 276 as we return the Torah to the ark. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki nishkav shemo levado. All praise God's name, for God's name alone is truly sublime. For this year, this morning, we turn to page 284.
Baruch atah Adonai, shomei kol tu'at amo Yisrael, berachamim. Tekiah, shevarim truah, שדרים תקיע תקיע תרועה תקיע גדולה
Wow. It has been a year. Even after a pandemic, it feels like the year we are leaving has been, in the words of teenagers everywhere, extra. It feels like this year has had more catastrophic fires, storms, and earthquakes than usual. This summer, the Tico and Temple preschool staff had to monitor air quality for camper safety. The news is harder and harder to watch with the corruption and mishigas that have seemingly taken over both sides of the aisle. And we wonder how we can tell our young people that things will get better when we have a national mental health epidemic, revealing disheartening statistics around despair and loneliness. Then we add into all of this the fact that changes in technology are occurring at speeds faster than our brains can process. We know that artificial intelligence is going to change the world, but we have yet to understand how, or even how much. We live in complicated times that are making us feel unsettled and insecure. There's no magic bullet to make it better, no solution to solve today's difficult challenges, but there is something powerful that may help us to quiet some of the noise around us. Shabbat. In the beginning of the Torah, we learn that God created the world in 6 days, and on the 7th day, God rested, giving us the ultimate gift of Shabbat. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel takes this one step further. In his book entitled The Sabbath, he says, "It was on the 7th day that God gave the world a soul, and the world's survival depends upon the holiness of the 7th day." It is this God-given spiritual side in each of us that allows us to feel emotions deeply, to look into another's eyes and see their humanity, to recognize that every person is created, B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. It is the soul that children, who I believe are much more attuned with their spiritual side than we are as adults, feel when they enter the room when Shabbat begins. It's the soul that helps us to take a deep breath when we hear the opening words of L'cha Dodi at services, and know that time has gone from being mundane to being holy. Many of us first experienced the magic of Shabbat at various Jewish summer camps. When I ask any of our campers who attend Jewish overnight camp their favorite part of their experience, a near unanimous amount of them proclaim Shabbat. Shabbat is when all campers and staff dress up in their Shabbos whites and enter a dining hall that has been transformed with white tablecloths and Shabbat candlesticks. They sing beautiful melodies and eat delicious food. The smell of challah permeates the air. Their souls are nourished by the unforgettable sights, sounds, and smells. These campers live out the expectation of Chidur Mitzvot, to beautify the commandments. They recognize that they are entering a different time, a holy and sacred time,
one that is separate from all the other days of the week. These campers also appreciate the Shabbat provides a much-needed respite from their phones and other technology. They love the break, I was surprised too, from societal pressures, to respond immediately to their friends, to post regularly on social media, to like their friends' posts within nanoseconds. They can be present fully and wholly in the moment. They love the ability to connect face to face with their peers with no other alternative. They enjoy the fact that all their friends know and accept that they will be unreachable for 3, 4, 6, even 8 weeks. What if we gave our children this gift every Shabbat? Not for the entire day, but for a few hours on Friday night. What if we gave that to ourselves? Last night, Rabbi Zimmerman challenged this whole congregation to started with a day, but negotiated down to 2 hours of Shabbat with no phones. And I've already heard some people have taken her up on her challenge. What a gift. What a gift Shabbat gives us, if only we accept it. We are commanded to observe the Sabbath day because on the seventh day God rested from all work, and God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. It was on the seventh day that God gave the world a soul, and there is undeniable magic in that. Of the countless rituals of Judaism, Shabbat is the only one that is mentioned in the 10 Commandments, and even with 612 other mitzvot, this is the one that affects us the most as individuals and a people. Whether or not we celebrate, we all know when Shabbat happens. It is so important that as you have heard before, and you will keep hearing, because we're going to remind you so that you join us in it, this is the year of Shabbat at Temple Israel. We feel its presence and we feel its departure. When we decide to observe it, we awaken our souls to a new level of connection and spirituality. For Shabbat allows us to end our weeks with intention. Surrounded by family or friends, we put a period, an exclamation mark, or even a question mark at the end of our week. After being pulled in many different directions, we focus back on what is most important to us, our relationships, and we repair those, and we position ourselves to tackle the next week's challenge. Shabbat reminds us that we do not need to be perfect. In fact, perfection is not a goal, and it does not fill our souls. Instead, Shabbat gives us the opportunity to confront our imperfections, especially when it comes to our relationships with others. As the theologian Martin Buber says, God lives in our true connections with one another, and they are strengthened through conversations and commitment and FaceTime, but not the kind on your iPhone. For all relationships, from parent-child to romantic relationships to work relationships, these all go through a process of rupture and repair. This concept has its origin in attachment theory, which was founded by John Bowlby. Attachment theory is the idea that the physical attachment between parent and child leads to a sense of physical and psychological security. According to researchers, however, this does not mean that parents have to be perfect or perfectly in tune to their child's every need. In fact, most caregivers, they say, miss up to 50% of an infant's cues for attachment. This is where that idea of rupture and repair enters the equation. Ruptures happen and repairs happen, and that is a very positive thing, because children end up being more secure when they find that good things can follow bad things. We would be setting our children up for disappointment in a world that is anything but perfect if they thought we had to be perfect. Plus, we'd be preventing them from developing a resilient sense of self that trusts that mistakes are a normal and healthy part of relationships. This cycle is also true for couples. The Gottmans, who are famous relationship psychologists, report that partners are emotionally available to each other 9% of the time. 9%. That leaves 91% of our relationships open for so many ruptures. What makes a successful relationship? It's the repair. That is what the difference is between happy and unhappy couples. No matter how careful we are, we will inevitably rupture any relationship that we are in. But what separates the relationship masters from the disasters, there's a habit, they say, that the masters have, which is that they are scanning social environments for things they can appreciate and say thank you for, rather than for things that their partner is doing wrong. The cycle of rupture and repair happens always in all relationships, which is why it is also an integral part of the high holiday season. While the word teshuvah translates as repentance, or more literally as return, the essence behind the word is the process of fixing one's relationship with other people and one's relationship with God. Judaism's take is that repairing a mistake or apologizing for behavior is always an option, no matter the situation. And I believe that by sitting down with our families, our friends, our community, putting away our phones, lighting the candles, and tearing at the challah, we have positioned ourselves to tackle any needed repair. It was on the seventh day that God gave the world a soul. Shabbat makes time holy, and it pushes us to become the most holy version of ourselves. There's an old Jewish tale about a person named Shmui who is lost and wandering from town to town. In one town, he is invited to a family's home for Shabbat. Before Shabbat begins, he decides to rest his weary feet and take a nap, where he has a dream of a woman wearing a gown and a shimmering veil of starlight. "Who are you?" Shmui asks. "I am Shabbat." Shmui responds, "I just want you to stay with me forever." In a confident voice, Shabbat responds, "I will stay with you until tomorrow night, and then I must return to the heavens. But I will leave a spark for you to have with you always, and I shall come to you every week at this time if you open your heart to me." Then Shabbat gave Shmui his spark, his neshama yetera, his extra soul, the spirituality, the connection, the calmness that comes from this neshama, this extra soul, is what campers miss when they leave camp. It is what drives college students to attend Hillel and Chabad Shabbat dinners. It is the feeling that each one of you have when you attend services after a long hiatus and then say to us, "I really should come more often." Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, is where we first find the concept of the extra soul, and it helps us to further understand its purpose. Kabbalah teaches that the extra soul is that part of our soul that comes into our world to help us to make correction. It is the extra soul that has the time and the space to help us open our hearts and our minds and deepen our relationships, because it is not tied up with the day-to-day worries that can trap us. Every Shabbat, through our connection to our extra soul, we are given the ability to make a correction and engage in repair. This is the power of Shabbat. We have inherited an extra soul that is open and yearning for connection and repair. What better place than to heal our relationships than around that beautiful Shabbat table with the smell of challah wafting through the air? Can you picture it? Yes, the world is complicated, and at times scary, but we have been given the gift of Shabbat to help us navigate all that feels out of control in our world. The gift of time to slow down, put away our distractions, and look our loved ones in the eye. Shabbat gives us the gift of space to sit around a table and converse, to share our dreams and our challenges, to discuss what has been bothering us, to apologize for ways we have not been present. Shabbat provides a venue for us to celebrate our triumphs, not by staring at screens and waiting for likes, but by watching a loved one smile back at us. We will read on Yom Kippur morning, "It is not in heaven that we cannot reach it, neither is it in the sea that we cannot get to it. It is here." The practice of Shabbat is readily available in our minds and our hearts, and we can observe it. As we enter into this new year of 5784, let us commit to bringing Shabbat into our week to nourish our souls, to heal and strengthen our relationships, and to bring us a sense of calmness and peace. For, as the rabbis have taught, Shabbat is our eternal companion. It has accompanied us on every step of our journeys and helped us to discover and become our best selves. Shana Tova and Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful sermon, thank you. So I think you've gotten the idea that Shabbat's a big deal here, huh? We want to encourage you to do a few things. From here, we are going to walk to Lake of the Isles, where we will prepare ourselves to throw away our own sins to do better. So Tashlich is a way to say, this is what I've done wrong. I'm going to kind of throw it away, and I'm going to make things better. And it's a really beautiful service. So please join us by either driving or walking to Lake of the Isles immediately following our service. In addition, remember that scary liturgy about what we can do to kind of temper God's decree? Well, you have an opportunity to do so by taking an envelope and returning it with a check for the food you're not going to eat on Yom Kippur, and maybe a bit more, to bring to the food shelf. So we then do that as an act of tzedakah. We are putting into action the liturgy that we just read. So take a envelope, and if you don't find an envelope, bring the check anyway. It'll work, don't worry. October 1st, we have our grand opening for our new TICO project that has it's been awesome and amazing. So if you went to TICO when you were 5, or if you've never been to TICO, please come. It will be full of lots of music and games and celebration, and we're going to cut the ribbon to a new building where our campers can come in. The entire camp can fit into the new building at the new chapel and a new lakefront. It is truly beautiful and awesome. October 1st, 9 o'clock to noon, and at 10:30 is the ribbon cutting, so you can join us there as well. And now we begin the conclusion of our service with the Aleinu. Please rise. And what page are we on? 286.
שלא עשנו גויי הארצות ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר
turn to page 292 as we reflect on the names of those who are no longer with us physically, but whose spirits are very much a part of who we are and our congregation. If there are names that are not here, please add them in your hearts as we remember these individuals who have died in recent days, weeks, and months. Nancy Mallman, Diana Eidelcope, Daniel Goldberg, Larry Kreidberg, Maya Dvoskin, James Ehrlich, Chris Benjamin, Barbara Siegel, Muriel Posner, Barbara Harris, and Mark Rosenberg. And we link their names to those whose yortites are commemorated at this Shabbat service. Harold Aaron, Philip Apple, Celia Atlas, Arik Averbrook, Celia Baker, Samuel Baker, Jenny Bershow, Dr. Charles Sheldon Bland, Sophie Block, Victor Brank, William H. Bunyan, Bernice Feitler, Albert Fidel, Jack Freeman, Mark Friedson, Maurice B. Goldstein, Eva J. Goodman, Zelda Green Harris, Louis S. Grodnick, Rose D. Halpern, Edward Henkin, Mary Lee Ingber, Irma Kaplan, Zena Kaplan, George M. Katz, Jacqueline Kunyan Newman, Sherwin Sherm Lebowitz, Vera Lisogorski, Max Nadler, Donald Perwin, Donald Rosen, Doris Rosen, Dorothy Rosen, Julius Salita, Mary Shanling, Ronnie Joy Sherman, Roslyn Siegel, Michael Tankelevich, Walter Touchfarber, Rita Voss, Robert Winner, Marlene York. In the names of all those whom we remember, we continue with the Mourners Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'al ma divrach hirute v'yam lich malchute, b'chaya chon v'yom echon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agala uzman kari v'imru, amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mivorach leolam el maya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpa'ar v'yitrama v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. O say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen.
Singing together on page 299.
Nodel Adonenu,
Eloheinu, Adonai, our God and God of our foremothers and our forefathers. If any of us, actually, all of us, have had ruptures in our relationships, let us take the next 10 days to repair them, to say we're sorry. We're not going to solve the world's problems, but perhaps we'll solve our own. And I'm sorry for what I meant to do and what I didn't even know I did. That is the work of this time of year. Thank you, oh God, for the opportunity for teshuvah, for atonement, for repair. O say shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May God, who creates peace and wholeness in the world, help us find peace and wholeness in our lives, in our relationships, in our loves. Shabbat shalom and Shana Tova.